Hey guys, I'm back this time with some digital graffiti, and today the inspiration is actually one of my favorite artists. He is a German graffiti artist. He goes by the name of Smoe, or Smoe Nova, and I've been watching his YouTube channel for quite a while, learning from him and kind of like seeing what he does and really enjoying how he makes his videos and his process and everything like that. So today I am presenting my kind of ode to Smoe, or my thank you to Smoe for inspiring me and in a way teaching me through his videos to make good graffiti pieces. So, there's no way he is, but Smoe, if you are watching this, thank you. So here we are with the first lines. I just kind of threw these on top of the basic paper sketch that I had made. And then after the first lines, I worked with a nice gradient of colors. And the one thing that Smoe always talks about when it comes to the fill-in colors is he likes to have one of the colors be kind of incorrect. So the red to pink to purple is kind of natural, but then the purple to green is incorrect. So I'm kind of like trying to, I don't want to say copy, I just want to implement his teachings and create my own graffiti based on his very amazing style. I ended up not liking the way that gradient was going, so I redid it by sealing off all the letters and then putting the gradient on each letter individually. And I thought that helped with the perspective of where the letters are in space and kind of helped push the H back a little bit. And it really separated the letters in a way that's a lot nicer, in my opinion. And then I throw a basic thin green outline over all the letters. This is the part that always takes me the longest because smooth straight lines are hard to come by, and it's just, when you're doing it digitally, it's so easy to just go back and try again. That, you know, sometimes I'll spend like 30 attempts making a line trying to make sure that it's just the right kind of smoothness that I'm looking for, or the right angle that I'm looking for, or whatever. But then after the outline is there, it's nice because you can go back and match the fill to the outlines and erase what you don't need and fill in where there's white space. That's why like working digitally is so much better than working on like pen and paper or marker and what paint. Like spray paint's really nice because you can just very easily do one color over pretty much any other color, and that's what I like about like the digital aspect as well, is you can really just put anything over anything. Whereas with when I do the marker drawings, I have to think about which values to put first because you cannot like take any of the saturation out. And if I were to do something with, I don't know, like I don't really use too many other mediums. Like colored pencil, I like colored pencil. You can't really erase colored pencil, and the colors kind of mix weird, so you have to like really plan out everything a little bit more. Here I am desperately trying to hide this or fix this seam here, and it took me man, in real time, probably about 20 minutes to color correct this area. I just wanted to make the white line a lot smaller. I ended up redoing the attempt, and I just hit undo until it was back to its former shape, and then I used the edge line to kind of hide it. The way I did this was kind of dumb because all these edge cut areas and borderlines in between the letters where they kind of like go into each other and cut through each other, I really should have thought ahead and made it easier to melt these together, because I ended up having to account for a pretty large like white borderline, which was not fun to deal with, and then I had to correct all the little errors I made from doing it that way, and it was just kind of a nightmare. I'd rather do it a different way next time, because this was just a lot. But I think it worked out. And that's pretty much the basic outline and fill in. Oh, here we go. I'm fixing the kind of blotchiness of the eye now. I wasn't done with that one spot. I had to do the same kind of nonsense mistakes over here too. And I was just using like a combination of smudging and, you know, filling in with more color, like whatever I could to fix that, because that was just a task I didn't expect to see myself having to overcome so aggressively. And here I wanted to place down a vanishing point so I could get the perspective right on where the blocks go. I wanted to make this a 3D graffiti popping out of the page and such, just like most graffitis are, and I figured since it's digital, I can cheat and I can just draw lines to the vanishing point and it will give me the blocks that I need. It'll just straight up hand them to me. So that's exactly what I did. This is probably where my like architectural and structural drawing background kind of like came into my brain here, because I was like, ooh, all these straight lines will give me the perfect ratioed blocks, and it'll just be the best they could possibly be. And then I had all these nonsense lines going through that I had to account for, and I had to make sure that I was outlining the right part to do the paint bucket for, and I had to go back and fill in these little lines that they left. So you know, I thought this method was like super good at first. It ended up being very time consuming, so I'll probably do it differently. There's probably a good reason why people don't do that method, and you know, here I am. I should have done those lines on a separate layer or something. Oh well, you live and you learn. I think one of the problems is I got too obsessed with making it look good that I didn't see how the process was, like, I don't know, making it harder, making it a little sloppier, and it was putting, you know, color in places that I really didn't want there to be that color. And when you've got all kinds of layers jumping around, sometimes it's hard to tell when something is gonna pop out and be a problem later. So, you know, I really should be more like mindful of my layers, but oh well. And after I got the blocks put in, I had to kind of clean up some other layers to make the outline and the 3D block and the fill-in kind of play together nicely. I even put in some helping lines here for the borders in the block edges, like where things connect and where things intersect and all those kind of areas, just because I felt like the color gradient that I had in there was not doing enough at all. There I am, just taking a nice break to go to the bathroom. When you're doing long streams like this and there's no one there to watch, sometimes you just forget that, like, you're technically at work and people could just pop in and watch you. And it kind of feels like when you're at work at a restaurant. Like, I work at this pizza place, and oftentimes I'm the only one working in there. I do the morning shift, and they don't hire enough people, so I'm oftentimes the only one there. And they want you to be available for someone if they were to call or come into the store, so you can't really just go to the bathroom if you're the only one in there. And sometimes streaming, it kind of feels like that, where it's like, oh, what if someone is watching while I'm like taking a bathroom break or something? You're gonna be like, oh, he's not even doing anything. Not that I have viewers anyway, but it's kind of like a broken brain mentality from the job I currently have, where, like, if you're not being productive the whole time you're doing the thing, or the whole time you're on the clock or whatever it is, then that's bad. But that's baked in from previous restaurant jobs and whatnot. The restaurant industry will really do that to you too. They have like these crazy expectations for like almost no pay at all. Anyway, that's a huge tangent. If you're curious as to what these Greek letters are, they refer to my fraternity that I was in. I was in the Xi Beta chapter of the Theta Tau fraternity at the university that I went to from like 2015 to 2019, 2020, something like that. But yeah, they represent my chapter. They represent my best friends in the world from school, and I still keep in touch with them. I still see them every now and again, even though I'm not in college. But that's essentially how I got the nickname Thick in the first place, was from these friends in college. So I figured, since this is a piece that I've worked really hard on, and it's kind of a part of Smoe's style to do elements like that, I figured I'd throw it on there. So now that I'm done with the main piece, I was gonna create a background pattern, and I thought this was really funny because it looks like I'm starting over from square one here while I have the other layers hidden. So I was thinking to myself, man, I've done a couple hours work, and it looks like I've done nothing. But no, it's all just hidden. And I used the kind of like, I don't know what the function's actually called off the top of my head, but I use it to make mandalas and radial patterns and such, and I like to use it to make very nice symmetrical or just evenly spaced radial patterns. And I have a harder time pulling this effect off with other illustration softwares or drawing softwares, what have you. I feel like this one has like one of the more easy to work with interfaces for doing that kind of thing. Now this whole set of shapes here is gonna be like one component to a repetitive pattern. So I'm making the details on them kind of simple and bold, so that way they're a little bit more visible once I make a ton of them and make a ton of tiny versions of them. Figured it'd be a little bit easier to see when all the lines are very crisp. And then after I'm done kind of cleaning that up and making it small, I put a couple next to each other, do a good old copy and paste. And I was thinking of doing like a more intricate pattern where they kind of overlay each other and stick into each other, but that was too much. The layering on that would have been ridiculous, so I decided not to give myself a headache and make the pattern a little bit simpler. Do a good old copy and paste until you've got a whole swarm of them. And before you even know it, I've got half a page full of them. And then, bada bing, bada boom, the whole thing is filled up. Very nice. And then behind all that, we're going to do a little bit of a gradient background. Not too much of a gradient, just enough. Okay, just enough so that it's different from the middle to the outside. Now that we've got the background and the piece kind of finished-ish, you can put it together, clean up the edges, change the opacity on a couple things, make it look nice, and then I get to put a shadow on it. If this were real graffiti, I'd have to actually paint the shadow, but it's digital, so I can cheat. I love when I get to do a little cheat with a digital painting. Makes my life a little bit easier. And I struggled for a while to figure out the shape I wanted behind the letters. There's always got to be a background element or something, right? A little something interesting. So I went for a classic splotchy kind of bubbly paint drop type of deal. And these are all very classic things that Smoe likes to do. I love when he does pieces with the pattern backgrounds and his very crisp and clean 3D looking pieces. I just love all that stuff. So I tried to incorporate as many elements from his paintings as I felt that I could. I'm kind of a person who puts like fewer decorations on the letters, as you could say. Smoe likes to use like a lot of chips and things and extra chunks hanging off or hanging next to the letters, and all of that looks nice, but I feel like overwhelmed by that. I like the letters to be kind of by themselves, even though they're a crazy shape or whatever. I don't particularly find comfort in placing random shapes and other random, like super random lines through things. You know, but I try my best to expand on what I'm comfortable with. This for me was like a huge leap as far as like what I was actually comfortable with. I had to go step by step and kind of make sure that I was doing all the things I could. And I was following along with a lot of Smoe's longer form videos where he really talks about his process and his step-by-step and whatnot. They're really good. And then the last thing that I like to throw on, or he likes to throw on, or whatever, is blinky lights. And Smoe does a broken halo at the top of his. But I have my own logo, so I did my little butt shape in the Halo's place instead. So thank you very much. Here's the final shot of the piece. I'm very proud of it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Follow me on YouTube, Redbubble, Twitch, TikTok, Twitter, Fiverr, Canvy. Thank you. Have a good one.